That's just the intro.
I realized the moment I fell into the fissure that the book would not be destroyed as I had planned. It continued falling into that starry expanse of which I had only a fleeting glimpse. I've tried to speculate where it might have landed, but I must admit that such conjecture is futile. Still, questions about whose hands might one day hold my Myst book are unsettling to me. I know my apprehensions might never be allayed, and so I close, realizing that perhaps the ending has not yet been written.
Alright. Pretty iconic here. The music definitely brings me back. Cutscene doesn't... Oh, okay, yeah. I thought it did. Just looking at the water a little too much. Okay. So the thing about Myst is that I don't even know if they're a race of people. Hold on a minute. I'll build up the movement speed. So they've added things so that you can just free roam, but I think I'll stick to realMyst for a while. We can always swap, which is nice. And yeah, okay. So we look around. Yeah. So otherwise we can just switch to free camera and movement, but it's a little bit weird. Anyway, so the premise is that a group of people called the Dunny have the ability to basically write worlds into books, and so that's what we just did there. We just transferred into the world of... Is this Myst? I forget what the actual name of the island is, or what this age is. That's what the books are called. They're ages. Okay, so I got my notepad. Let's begin the exploration. That is a very difficult to make out picture in there. Turn around. Yeah, okay, so there's a note. We'll get that on the way out. I don't remember... Okay, well, I guess there isn't. So I don't really remember a whole lot about the game. Hey, Dante? No, this is actually the remastered realMyst. Is that getting loud for anybody? Dimensional Imager. Topo is 40. Marker is 47. And pool is 67. Okay, so that's what we're looking at there. Actually, I guess I could check 47. 47 is one of them. I'm not sure what that belongs to. Is it? Okay. It's also getting unstable again, too. Okay. Well, let me, I mean, I can bring this down about here and see how that goes. And then otherwise I'm going to have to get out and do the sound mixer, the volume mixer. I think I need to have some power going on the island. So, do we go up? Yeah, let's go up first. Right. Okay, what little I do remember of this room here. It's a star map. So we have to have all that information, which I don't. This is a game that does require note-taking, so I will be sure to do that. So I think this tells me... I think that's a viewing tower, and I need to get it rotated somehow to look at somewhere. Right. So I just picked up a red page that is relevant.
Bring me a red page. I can't see. I need a red page, you must. I beg to bring. I am serious.
I'm not sure if this is on a loop or not.
There is one thing I need to rescue.
I guess not. So all I got out of that was bring me red pages and rescue me. Which, is a thing. That sounds like it opened a bunch of stuff there. But before we go that way... the open and close. We need those books. So then we also have a blue page.
Serious? Is that you? Are you? See you. You know. Help me. Bring me blue pages. Never. pages. I must have the blue page. Bring them to me.
And he requires blue pages. This will be relevant later. Look at the bookshelf here. Bunch of burnt out books. But there's a few intact ones. I guess I'll read them because the story is important in this game. I have called this age Channelwood, and it is a very different world. Though it is exactly how I imagined it, it is still amazing to see it with my own eyes. Water covers this age as far as I can see, except for a small rocky island. Elsewhere, there are only trees, which grow directly out of the water. A myriad of thin wooden passageways are built just above the water and disappear into the forest. I assume they were built some time ago, for they appear aged. I am eager to discover more about this land and its people, but I have arrived here late, and I must rest. I was awakened this morning by strange noises coming from a pathway adjacent to the one on which I had slept. I saw a group of monkey-like people heading in my direction. They had not seen me yet. I did not feel threatened by their presence. Their response to me was one that I would have never expected. After staring at me for a short time, they fell to their knees and began what appeared to be some sort of ceremonial worship. I tried to speak to them, but they did not understand my language. Instead, they indicated through enthusiastic hand motions that I was to follow them. As we walked, I began to notice that the waters below us were changing colors. Slowly, subtly, they would change from deep blue to muddy orange, then from muddy orange to beautifully clear. I was so intrigued by the water, I hardly noticed that we had arrived at a ladder. Climbing the ladder led us to their village, which is about 10 meters above the water and can only be reached by rope ladders that stretch from the lower paths to the village level approximately halfway up the grand trees. It is very interesting watching these people carry out their daily tasks. Even after watching them for hours, I did not understand exactly what they were doing. At sunset, they motioned for me to follow them. I followed the creatures to the doorway of an enormous hut. Strangely, once inside, I found the hut appeared even larger than it had from the outside. The walls were garnished with bright metals, and in the center of the hut sat the leader of these people. At least he appeared to be their leader, for he sat a meter off the floor in a thick throne. Guards surrounded the strong creature, who was dressed in many exotic, colorful fabrics. Next to the leader sat a very old human. At least to some extent he appears human. His hair, which was only on his face and head, was completely gray, almost white, and hung very long around his frail body. His thin head hung limply by an almost grotesque neck that could not hold its head up to look at me. But what a surprise, this creature could speak my language. Shortly thereafter I was given a bed, with some hand motions that looked to be telling me to go to sleep. I look forward to learning more. As I suspected, the ancient creature is a human, but he is old beyond his own reckoning, and seems almost insane. However, the tree dwellers almost revere him as a god. They are treating me now in the same fashion, which makes me feel very uncomfortable. It is almost impossible to understand this old man. His voice is feeble but wild. He has adopted much of the language of the tree dwellers. He himself told me he had not spoken our own tongue in ages. He attempted to explain to me the history of this place. The following is my best translation of what he has told me. Many years ago, the humans and tree dwellers lived together in this place, which was then a vast island. They interacted very little. The humans dwelt on the ground, and the tree dwellers lived high above the humans. Occasionally, the island was disturbed by mysterious rumblings which happened randomly, some sort of tectonic or volcanic action, I suspect. Sometimes slight, sometimes heavy tremors would only last a short time. Then they would stop, allowing everything to return to normal. One day things changed. The rumbling began and grew quickly to unprecedented levels. Soon it became apparent the entire island was sinking slowly into the ocean around them. Many of the humans died that day, but not before sacrificing themselves in order to stop the sinking of the island. The humans, who lived through this catastrophe, moved into the trees where they gradually died out, maybe because they were unequipped for such an environment, but I am not sure. This is the story the old man communicated to me, although many details are very unclear in my mind. I am especially confused as to how the humans saved the island from completely sinking. In fact, I doubt the accuracy of that part of the story. The island must have stopped on its own. Yet the old man believes in the truth of the story as if he had been there, and the tree dwellers worship him and apparently all humans, as if they were heroes or gods. The old man ended our conversation today with an event which I will never forget. He began gripping my hand tightly, murmuring something about rest and asleep. He then said, "We had expected you to come sooner." These actions filled me with a sort of immediate dread. With much effort, he stood to his feet. I tried to help him, but he pushed me away with more force than I imagined his frail body contained. The dwellers quietly surrounded him, with very solemn faces. They then kneeled before him. He walked to each and placed his hand on their heads. All the while he murmured words which I did not understand. Finally, he turned to me and smiled. Then he closed his eyes, um, walked out the door and off the narrow path, high in the trees. The tree dwellers were silent. They began a procession down the nearest rope ladder. As I was descending, I saw several of them pick up the body. He had fallen onto a lower level of walkway, and carry it away. He was laying down at the dead end of a short pier-like structure. With the use of some potion, one of the tree creatures lit the pier on fire, and I watched as the flames engulfed him. As this strange funeral proceeded, the waters around the pier changed to dull green. This morning I awoke, finding it hard to even believe the previous evening's events. The water is a dull green for as far as I can see now. For some reason the water no longer shifts color. As I wandered throughout the pathways, the creatures watched me, curious to see what I do next. They're constantly offering me strange objects of affection. I even found food outside the doorway to the room in which I slept. This is a unique race of beings. I hope to learn their language soon, so I may learn more from them. My God, how long does this? It goes on, but like I said, it is important. I have lived on this world for 3 months off and on, and the tree dwellers have shown great hospitality. I'm even beginning to learn bits of their language. I've decided to return home for an extended stay with my loving wife and sons, and hopefully return with them. However, I am sure Catherine will once again refuse. I think this age would be a wonderful place, or wonderful experience for all of them, and I at least look forward to how Cirrus and Achenar will react to its curious inhabitants. Catherine is staying behind as expected. My sons have returned with me, and they enjoy this age very much. They get along very well with the tree dwellers and are picking up their language surprisingly fast. I have no doubt it will not be too long until they can speak with the tree dwellers much better than myself. I am leaving tomorrow to check on the Osmoian age. Cirrus has suggested I allow him and his brother to stay, though the idea unsettles me. I know the boys will grow up rapidly. The hospitality of these creatures is such I could think of no better place to leave them alone for a short while, so I will consent to their request. I warned the boys not to take advantage of the respect that tree dwellers have for their ideas. Yeah, pretty much. They seem to understand my warning, and I have faith they will follow it. Much to my dismay, upon arriving in Everdunes, I learned that Pran and her people are continuing to be menaced by the Coctic. I fear for their survival and plan on returning to her shortly, after checking on Cirrus and Achenar here. See Everdune's journal for more information. After watching Cirrus and Achenar, I see they're handling things very well, and I think I can put to rest my fears about leaving them in Channelwood again, and for a longer time. The tree dwellers seem slightly distressed I am leaving, but are happy Cirrus and Achenar are staying behind again. Here we go again. I've been gone for over 3 days and have been to many different places. I had to tell Cirrus and Achenar about Pran's death today, and they were visibly shaken, although they only remembered her from their childhood. Catherine has suggested that it would be wise for Cirrus and Achenar to leave Channelwood for a while, and I have to agree. They will be returning with me when I leave again. I have told my sons they will be returning with me in 2 days. They spent the entire night telling me of an adventure they experienced in my absence, and it was rather remarkable. It seems they constructed a boat with the creatures and traveled some ways out into the surrounding waters. I enjoyed hearing them talk excitedly about their adventures, and am reminded of my own adventures as a child. I finally understand why the tree dwellers have been giving me their inks and insisting I write with them. Looking through some of my past entries, I see now the inks have changed from black, I thought they were, to various different colors. What? I thought they were, to various different colors. I have shown some of the creatures my journal, and they laughed and howled. I did not know they had such a sense of humor. Even now, as I look through this very colorful journal, I cannot help but laugh myself. We will be returning tomorrow, so my sons are with the creatures for the last night here. They have told me they would like to come to Channelwood again, and also asked if they can visit some other ages alone. Though I will have to think over their request, I believe they have proven to me they are trustworthy and responsible. Catherine will also have to help me decide whether they are ready for travel alone. For now, I must give my farewells to the creatures, for I do not know how long I will be how long it will be until I visit this age again. Okay. I I don't know. I'm going to write this map down because it may be important. I'm going to come back to read the rest. I'm not going to read the whole library right now, although there may be clues that I will need in those books. But story is very important to these games, so it is kind of a big deal that I read them. So aside from all the games, this series does also have novels, which I read when I was in middle school, I want to say. It also had, I believe, a comic book. And I think the comic book kind of filled in a little bit more about uh, the backstory to this one, this game in particular. But the family that we are with is very pertinent to all of the games. All right. So yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll come back. I was gonna look through those, but because they all have clues, so we could just take the clues out of them. But let's go check on things. Now, this is not a game that I recall having a lot of hidden objects and whatnot, so I'm not particularly worried about missing out there. We do need to get rid of... Oh, nope. We can just go right in to the library. Oh. Close the gate. We're now in the tower. So you can see these ladders indicate that they go elsewhere. And this is why I am so I think I'm in the wrong place because we need to turn this tower. That's what that map down below is showing. I think once the tower is pointed in a correct direction, that ladder might show somewhere. Yeah, definitely. Right now, I can't see anything. Okay. I don't know, it has to have been 15 years, at least. Possibly 20, since I last played this game. But this is why I'm playing with the click to move, because if I had to freely move, I'm not sure I would know everywhere I was going. Okay, so yeah, I will come back and look at those books because they will have clues to various puzzles, some of which I may need. Here we go. Right, so we gotta figure out the symbols there. I'm pretty sure at some point those become relevant with turning them all on. Okay, so somewhere we get a clue as to how much power we need. Oh, hey, look at that right there. Power and power to the ship. Okay. Does that 1 through 6. They've got that slightly backwards then. Well, obviously it's a simple additional game. Yeah, tell me about it. Okay, there's a pathway in the back here. You see how easy it would be to miss things if I just did. Yeah, so once we got the power going, we have to come up here to send it out. But that is the ship out there. But there's plenty to do over here. Okay, we don't have anything going here yet. So turning that on serves no purpose right now. And there's a safe, so we need a combo for that. Now, I could probably actually brute force that. It will spare us that this time until I become really stuck. Okay. There's the time. Don't have that puzzle yet. Again, all these clues are probably back in the library, but I just wanted to not bog us down in reading. So we'll go explore the island a little bit more here. I think by turning all these on, that's what activates those locations. And maybe I do need to read. Wait, there's a page right there. Catherine, I've left for you a message of utmost importance in our 4-chamber beside the dock. Enter the number of marker switches on this island into the imager to retrieve the message. Ah, okay. So we got 1. There's 2 out there. That will raise up eventually. 3, 4, 5. There was 1 right by the cabin, right? 6. Oops. 7, 8. Yeah, I mean it's not that terrible.
Catherine, my love, I have to leave quickly. Something terrible has happened. It's hard for me to believe. Most of my books have been destroyed. Catherine, it's one of our sons. I suspect Agonor, but I shouldn't leap to conclusions. I'll find him and Cirrus as well. Oh, I should have known better than to have left my library unchecked for so long. Well, I've removed the remaining undamaged books from the library and placed them in their places of protection. You shouldn't have to use the books until I return, but if you've forgotten the access keys, remember the tower rotation. Oh, and don't worry, Catherine. Everything will be fine. I'll see you shortly. Oh, and erase this message after you've viewed it, just to be safe.
Okay. So the tower rotation is a major part of how we get the next ages to unlock. So we have to do that. Unfortunately, I think to get the towers rotated, we need to start the power, and I think the power clue might be in another book. If not... Well, you know, that is actually a thing. So, the way the book technology works is... I thought that it was you write an age and it creates the age. The previous book, though, where he was talking about this age, Channelwood, that had the ape people in it, and the ape people had been there forever, and the island had once been above the water, all that stuff. It seems to imply that instead you're creating links, and indeed that's what these are. There's two different types of books. There's a linking book. Oh, look at this. This keeps track of all the places we've been. Cool. There's what's called a linking book, and then there's an age book. So, writing the book, the age book, creates the world, and then the linking book is what you need to get between the two places. And so, if they get lost or become damaged, you get stuck in the age. Hence what the blue and the red books are all about. When they were telling me to bring pages to them, pages have been ripped out of these books, effectively creating them as prison books, prison ages. So right now, yes, everybody is stuck in a book. Emmett was the first to live on the rocks. He named them the rocks because that is what they were, a group of sharp rocks clustered together in the middle of a large sea. This was where Emmett lived. He enjoyed his life. Emmett would occasionally swim to nearby rocks, as it was never too far of a distance. One day another person appeared on the rocks, for no apparent reason to Emmett. Emmett named this new person Branch. Emmett and Branch quickly became friends, swimming and hunting for fish together often. Emmett showed Branch the simple cave in which he lived on the largest rock. Soon Branch discovered a place where he decided to live, also on the same large rock. The sun always shone brightly in their world, and the water was always dazzlingly clear, allowing them to see almost to the steep ocean floor which surrounded them. Though the sun always shone, it was never too hot for the boys. A light breeze always came from the north and cooled the area down. One day, while Branch was swimming and having fun in the water, he noticed another boy swimming. Branch brought the new boy to Emmett to find out what to call the new boy. Emmett said the boy should be called Will. Will was soon a part of the group, and all three of the boys swam and enjoyed their perfect world. At least that is the story I was told when I arrived today on the island. Emmett, Branch, and Will were surprised to see me at first, but even before the night ended, we were all becoming good friends. Today, the second day on this newly created age, a strange thing happened. No, you definitely not want to live in a world where they burn the books. In fact, for the first 3 games, that is pretty much the theme. Everyone we meet is trapped in a book. Today, the second day on this newly created age, a strange thing happened. It was not strange to me, but the 3 boys did not understand what was happening. While I was relaxing under a large tree on one of the smaller rock islands, it began to rain. It was a nice rain that lasted for about an hour in the morning. I explained to the boys that the rain was not harmful, yet they obviously still feared it. Before going to sleep tonight, I told the boys I would leave the following day. I told them that while I was gone, I would make a surprising change to their world. They didn't understand, not that I expected them to. I still do not fully understand what happened today. I was experimenting... Hey, Pocket Ninja! I was experimenting with the art, testing the limits of the rules as dictated to me by my father. I attempted to create a book by writing it into the world. I thought everything was planned correctly, yet somehow the boat... create a boat by writing it into the world. I thought everything was planned correctly, yet somehow the boat had become gripped by the rock and broken in half. Although this test did not turn out as I had hoped, I now have answers to a few of the questions my father never answered. As for the boat, I can see the boys enjoy it anyway, and with that I am pleased. They have played on it all day. Even though the boat cannot move, I have enjoyed studying from it. It is a much sturdier platform than the jagged rocks. In the course of my observations, I have learned some very interesting things regarding the solar system of this age. The nights are absolutely beautiful here. I have made note of it, and named a number of constellations that pass above me. Okay, hopefully this gives us that. Um, Also, during the night, I catch glimmers of light from the horizon, which I have not been able to discover if it is created by some natural phenomenon or by additional people on far-off islands or rocks. I should very much like to discover which. I rather suspect it is additional people, which would explain the appearance of Branch and Will. The rain today was slightly heavier than usual. Just when the boys were getting used to the light rains, a small storm arrived. They were frightened of the heavier rain, not to mention the thunder and lightning. If rain has never fallen here until recently, as the boys tell me, I would like to discover why it is falling now. Regardless, I have decided to return home for a short while. I have been thinking of some plans for a lighthouse that I hope to construct soon. I think perhaps by shining a bright light towards the horizon, it might prove my suspicions regarding additional inhabitants. They would be curious about the light and travel to discover its source if they have the means. I returned with many tools that I will need for construction of the lighthouse. I have decided once the lighthouse is complete, I will leave for some time and let the world's own imagination have control. We have worked for 3 weeks on the lighthouse now, and are making great progress. The rock that we are building on seems to be not to be as secure as I would like. I have had to alter my plans slightly, but these alterations pose no real problem. The boys are quite strong and have been helping me immensely. I estimate construction will be done within 2 days. The lighthouse is finished, and we are all proud of our creation. The boys are amazed at the structure wrought from rock with their own hands. That evening we powered up the generator, much to the boys' dread at first, and shined a great light to the horizon for many hours. I stayed the night in the top of the lighthouse, and in the morning awoke to observe the sunrise without my being coated with the chilly blanket of ocean dew I had become accustomed to. It was Will who first saw the girl. She was swimming not far from the boat where Will was getting ready to hunt for fish. Then Will noticed a man not far away from the girl. Emmett was very pleased to meet the additional neighbors. I feel pleased to leave this age. I have set in motion events that have nothing to do with the writing or the art, that will have more profound impact on this world than I could have ever written. I think of it as... I think of it this age... What? I think of it, this age, as a gift to myself that I will wrap up and open some day in the future, only to discover that it has changed so much that indeed it is a surprise. Besides, I have yet another age that awaits me. It seems I'm going to need some time away to travel underwater, I'm going to need a way to travel underwater in this new age. So much planning is in order. It's been 10 years since I left this age, which I have called the Stoneship Age. Upon returning, I cannot believe the changes that have taken place. The original 3 boys have grown into adults, and there are many new faces that I do not recognize. Branch told me it has not rained for 7 years, and the cool breezes are back again. They are very content, and have been serving me with new food and showing me new materials they have discovered. It even seems they found gold somewhere. I see it in many forms around the island. My lighthouse has been kept in perfect condition. Oh boy, here we go. And it looks as if they have tried their very best to keep it so. Yet I have noted that the entire rock it was built on has sunk approximately 40 or 50 centimeters. After a wonderful visit with my old friends, I wonder aloud with them what things will be like in another 10 years. Alright, let me look at this. Okay, this really just tells me how the layout of the island is. I don't get anything out of this. But constellations, these are important. The eyeball. Snake. The beetle, bug, spider thing. And the cross. And the arrow. And the flamingo. I remember having a very meticulous notebook about all this stuff. And a leaf. Okay. So those also happen to be the symbols that are out there. on these, oh, well, I can't get out. On these blocks. And so somewhere we have to figure out where the, you'll see that the sun is slowly sinking. Time changes in this version of the game, which is kind of cool.